That's right. Greetings, fellow Armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Mickeyfan.
And Ace Astro.
And welcome to the So You Want to Be an Imagineer Season 18 Project 8 recap. New islands, new adventures. That's right. It is the Islands of Adventure overhaul. And this time around, Team Tmnt, the glorious judges, including myself and Mickeyfan, as well as Nate and Tux, went against the powerhouse 10-person team of Team Prospero and got our asses handed to us.
How about we got our asses handed to us?
Oh, we got our asses handed to us, Mickeyfan. Don't
Yes,
kid yourself.
yes,
Come
we
on.
did, but
Come on.
sometimes I like to play the
admit defeat here. I mean, make no mistake. I'm proud of the idea. I think, frankly, Mickeyfan, we'll get into it. I was never really that into the Oz of it all, but yeah, I'm gonna throw some shade your way, Mickeyfan.
I had my reasons.
I think Tux easily had the best of the
Absolutely
of the three of us, and I think, man, like. And what was really, we'll get into it. Let's just break it down. Of course, the first of all, how you doing, Ace?
I'm doing well. You know, that last project was hectic in a great way, and so now I'm excited for this new one coming up with Project 9.
Yeah, this new one is Mickeyfan's baby.
It is. It is. I fought to keep this in when we were editing.
Oh, you did. You did for sure. We'll say it's my baby, so I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out.
Oh, yeah.
One thing I can tease about the next project. The next project, there was a question of the day that got a lot of results, that got a lot of responses, that made me really excited about the next prompt. That's all I'm going to say.
It's going to be very research intensive. That's all I'm going to say.
Nice.
So, all right. So let's get into it. Let's start with Team TMNT. So, honestly, out of the gate, I was feeling cocky. I really was.
I was, as you know, I thought, oh yeah, we got this. We got this.
I was at one point, I was literally just like, okay, you know what? Like after one page of brainstorming, we have our ideas. We know what we want to do. Let's just lock it in and go.
Yeah, I was so impressed by that because like we were 10 pages or something, 12 pages of brainstorming, and you guys were just boom. Here's our 3 lands. Let's keep going.
And I will say, I think that the three lands we chose, kind of perfect for Islands of Adventure.
I think so too.
Definitely.
However, I've just never been a big fan of the Oz IP. I understand the appeal of it, I do, but for me, it's just I don't know. Wizard of Oz is just such an antiquated film by today's standards.
Read the damn books, Tiki.
Oh my god!
I keep telling you this. Read the book if you have an afternoon.
I have, like, what books in particular would you recommend? I have some of the books.
Obviously the original Wonderful Wizard.
Oh,
God. Ozma of Oz.
All right. Look, I have like 4 or 5 of the books that I picked up from work, so I'll see what I can do. But I don't know. This one was the only one that I was like, all right, you know what, Mickeyfan and Nate, they've got it, but I was never really fully 100% on board with it, as Mickeyfan knows.
Were I not working 6 days that this week the project was happening, I would have had more time to really cement this down. But like overall, I'm so freaking proud of that, of the Land of Oz.
No, don't get me wrong. It's a really good project for sure. Yeah. Dragon's Lair actually kind of came out with it came to be through me suggesting Land Before Time as like a counterbalance to Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Which is honestly something I'd still like to work on, man. I have so much love for Land Before Time, the original. But we got to talking about Bluth, and we kind of fell in love with the idea of doing something Bluth related. And I just think Dragon's Lair it's such an unconventional choice, but for
It's kind
some
of
reason
obvious.
it fits the park so goddamn well.
It does. I think that the park is absolutely based on literature. Like, they can say it all they want that it's not, but it is. And I think that this kind of takes that literature theme in a different direction because Dragon's Lair is so based on kind of your typical medieval fairy tale tropes.
Yeah, the first game is obviously based on medieval fairy tale tropes, but the second game, which is the basis for the Dark Ride, is based almost entirely around Alice in Wonderland. So,
Yeah,
there is a lot of literary elements to it.
Yeah. And it's the same for Avatar, to segue into that, where, the entire series is split up into books.
Exactly. I wanted to do Avatar. This is going to be one of my like white whales of like I wanted to do so much more with it than I actually ended up doing. I feel like what I ended up doing was a rush job. It was basically, in my mind, it's a bullet point list. I know it's a little bit more than a bullet point list, but in my mind, it is that.
No, I get it because Oz kind of ended up like a bullet point list as well.
Yeah, and I mean that's so easy to happen, right? You get caught up in so many other things, especially when there's only 4 of you for 3 whole lands. You have to plan accordingly.
And Nate and Tux, I don't know if y'all are listening, but y'all like cinched this for us.
Oh yeah.
God, if this was just me and Tiki, it'd be.
Oh, we would have been screwed.
Oh my god.
Oh man, I think what I probably would have resorted to is just like, hey, let's do a podcast outlining the land and just call it a day. Oh god. Mickeyfan, I don't want to yada over your Oz stuff because you are passionate about it. Is there anything in particular that you really want to highlight there?
The Wicked, the Winky Land, Wicked Land.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I if Roller Coaster Tycoon ran so much better.
That game is beautiful and the devil at the same time.
Exactly. Because like I had built out an entire coaster, and then when I zoomed out enough to get a snapshot of the whole thing, it was just gone.
Oh. Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. RCT3 for me is it's great when you're like, hey, design a coaster. It's awesome for those types of challenges. It's like, okay, here it is. I remember I did that for a renovation of Six Flags Discovery Kingdom where I did a Batman the Ride, like a mini hyper coaster. Then I also did like an RMC of the Santa Cruz Giant Dipper through RCT3.
Was that in Sorcerer's Apprentice?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Anyways, so yeah, honestly, Mickeyfan, I know you love the books, but like being realistic, I'm still sticking to this. Like, I think the whole land maybe should have been Wicked, and maybe it would have had a little bit more of a cohesive theme to it.
I think it's perfectly cohesive.
Yeah. All right. Ace, what do you think? Break the tie.
I mean, I was probably out of the 3 lands when you guys were coming up with the ideas. It was probably the one I was most excited about. I also love Oz and Wicked and all of that. And I mean, I think it definitely does it justice throughout the whole thing. Whether it's, Glinda's Palace or the shortened version of Wicked, which I think would be successful. Emerald City. I think it works and does it justice.
All right. I just think there's a little bit of a disconnect there for me between Wicked and the rest of the Oz franchise, but that's just me.
It was kind of intended to be a bit darker of an area in general, just because it was segueing right into Harry Potter.
That's a good point.
That's fair, yeah.
I'm legitimately kind of surprised that they haven't done something with Wicked in the parks yet.
At Universal Japan.
Oh boy!
I was talking about this. A god awful version of it.
Oh no! Oh
yeah,
no!
It was not good.
Oh God, maybe there's a reason they haven't done it.
It was what, like a carousel, a stage show, and it was
And
some
that's
other
it.
small attraction.
Like, there was like a Toto stage show, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it did not last long after
No.
the park opened.
Oh wow.
Which is kind of a travesty in my opinion. Just because thinking about it, Oz is kind of perfect for a theme park land.
Yeah, I mean, it looked great. It just needed more in the land.
Yeah.
Mhm. I am genuinely like, for me, it's like get rid of Blue Man Group.
Yeah.
Seriously, like get rid of Blue Man Group and have a full production of Wicked
Oh,
in that
yeah,
in
I
that
think
building
that'd be-
permanently.
I think that'd be
I-
super successful.
Yeah, I think it would be. I think it'd be a huge draw. I really do. But all right. Yeah, the only other thing I want to mention about Dragon's Lair is the elevator ride system, which Tux absolutely ran with, but I am super proud for coming up with it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I just think the idea of kind of like basically doing like a Rise of the Resistance meets Tower of Terror meets Escape from Gringotts, like kind of blending all three of those elements together.
It sounds so kitchen sink, but he pulled it off so well.
Yes.
All right. So let's talk Avatar. Yeah, Ace, are you an Avatar fan?
I'm not. It's on my watch list, but I haven't gotten to it yet.
Tiki, I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't watched Avatar since it first ran.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Once I circle back to Netflix on my infinite streaming services,
Right.
I think that one's next.
What about Korra?
I think I watched the first season of it.
Oh, wow. Oh, God.
Wow.
Okay, I have to say, like, Mickeyfan, you need to fucking watch Korra. It's coming to Netflix in August, so just get on that. Just
Right.
do a whole binge of the entire Avatar series like I did, and it's just amazing.
I think I'm going to do that probably.
Yeah. It's just wonderful. I mean, season 2 of Korra is the weakest season of the 7, but it's still pretty damn good in some spots. So yeah, with Avatar Land, man, I wanted to do so much with the bending that I didn't get to do, and that's my biggest disappointment. What do you guys think about the bending stations and how they ended up like? Honestly, my biggest problem with the bending was I couldn't figure out the technology. I couldn't like it was like it's not as cut and dry as a wand in Harry Potter or a lightsaber in Star Wars Land.
Yeah.
You know, like I couldn't figure out what you could actually do. Like at first I had a glove, but then it just kind of came to me like, well, wait, like the idea of something that's technology that can influence bending, that's something that would for sure get brought up in the universe. Like I was really caught up in the continuity of the show, especially because I was like knee deep in like, you know, like the entire series, not just Last Airbender, but Korra. I kind of watched all 7 books of those 2 series, all as, you know, like one epic. So I was like knee deep in the lore, and I think that was kind of to my detriment.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta let it happen.
Yeah.
That was my issue. I was so caught up in plot holes that I just, oh man, that was my big writer's block.
Yeah, but I think that it was whose idea was it to set Avatar between the 2 series? Was it mine?
I believe it was yours, yeah, because I was initially just going to do a full-blown Legend of Korra Land.
Yeah, and I said, what about setting it between them?
And I think that works out really well.
It does, because it kind of bridges the gap and it shows that progression of technology.
Which was the main theme I was kind of focusing on through the land. I really, the e-ticket, I wanted, honestly, the only reason it's not longer in terms of description is because I was kind of rushed to finish it. Yeah. But I was definitely, I really like conceptually what I do with it, especially the Aang and Toph pair up.
Oh, that's a pairing that I wish they explored more. Like,
Mhm.
just straight. I needed to see more of that friendship.
Oh, Korra has a little.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's one moment in Korra in particular. I don't want to give it away, but oh my god, it's everything.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, I wanted to do so much more with the bending. I wanted guests to be an active participant in the story, much more than they actually ended up being. Honestly, I think the best ride was actually the Spirit Realm ride. And Mickeyfan, I'm glad that you pushed me to keep it.
Yeah. Like, because, it's the Navi River journey of it all.
Oh, it's totally a ripoff of Navi River Journey. Absolutely, it's a ripoff of Navi River Journey. It's just like, hey, here's Navi River Journey, but with a little bit more FaceTime with the animatronic.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think it works really. I think it honestly is just like, if it's going to be a ripoff, I think it's so natural.
Yeah.
All right. And honestly, I think the dining, again, I wish I had more room to flesh it out a little bit, but the international marketplace kind of wrote itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are always nice when that happens, right? It's like you
Mhm.
have a simple idea and it's just so easy to expand it into something perfect like that for a land.
Yeah, the tea shop, the international marketplace, even the cabbage stand. Which the cabbage stand might be my favorite detail in the whole land, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love Ero's Tea Shop. Like, just in general, the whole concept of it.
Hmm.
And I know we talked about it. I don't know if I saw it or not, but like I was trying to get you to include Lee with good tea from the tea.
Yeah,
shop.
I included that. I don't think I specifically mentioned the name Lee, but I included basically like Zuko is basically what I said. I kind of altered it a little bit. I was saying like Zuko was acting as a server, and if people like acknowledge him as a Fire Lord, he'll humbly say like, "Yes, I'm the Fire Lord. I'm looking over my uncle's shop to make sure that it's ran to his standards."
All right. Yeah.
So I didn't, because honestly, like your idea was a little bit too. I think your idea would have worked with like a Zuko in his 20s, not necessarily a Zuko in his 40s. If
probably.
that makes sense.
Probably.
But I still like the idea of Zuko kind of having a soft spot for his uncle's tea shop and looking in on it from time to time,
Because
and it kind of being a good tie to the Spirit Realm ride.
Who gave him a chance?
Oh God.
Don't talk to me about Zuko. I will start crying.
Yeah, I'm actually currently on a rewatch of the series, and I'm watching it with my dad for the first time, slowly but surely. And Iroh and Zuko is like his, yeah, that's definitely the thing he's most interested in. I mean, he likes everything about it. He really likes Sokka, but he definitely has kind of taken a real liking to Iroh and Zuko. And Ace, not to give anything away, but Mickeyfan, you know what happens at the end of book 2?
Yes.
Yeah, I am just like, oh man, I am both excited and dreading getting to that point. Anyways. All right, so I think we can pretty much transition over. Ace, why don't you take the lead?
Yeah, so we, as you know, of course, we just flew through an insane amount of brainstorming trying to come up with the right lands for this. But day 1 or day 2, we had Joker's Wild come up with DC, and him and Nigel Channing just kept bouncing back and forth on, how DC would effectively take over the Marvel area. And I mean, they were flying through that, and then we sort of agreed that we needed a kids-based land because Universal is always strong at that, and then just another land. And it's funny because we kept going to Nintendo and then kept bouncing away from it. Like, oh, let's do Nintendo, but it's like, oh, that's too obvious. Let's do something else. And Capcom was mentioned, and then the
I
board.
thought Capcom was a really bizarre choice, and I'm glad you guys didn't go with that. I'm like, what, a Strider Dark Rides? Fucking Strider? Nobody knows who Strider is.
That was my biggest issue with Capcom. It
right.
well, but like compared to Nintendo,
I know who
Nintendo has
Strider is,
well,
but
yeah, like Nintendo has so many more well-known IPs that if we're going a video game-based land, it made sense to go Nintendo.
Like, really, with Capcom, the only one you can kind of do is Mega Man.
Yeah.
Mega Man and arguably Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, Street Fighter was those were the two that were talked about, but it was like compared to Nintendo, where we have Zelda, or as they went with Splatoon and all these other things, it just we went that route instead, which I think, based off the final product worked pretty nicely.
Yeah, I think Splatoon was a stroke of genius. I really do.
I was kind of questioning how it would work, but like you pulled it off so well.
Yeah, they did great on that area for sure.
My only complaint with Splatoon, and Space mentioned this too, is that I kind of wish that you guys would have went with something other than carts for the e-ticket, just because obviously Mario Kart, I'm fully convinced, if the leaks are true, and I've heard some of the leaks about what the layout's going to be like, if it's true, it's going to be a Rise of the Resistance killer. That's all I'm going to say. Jesus Christ. Yep. But
100%. Even just the land as a whole is absolutely stunning.
Oh yeah.
Like,
to be an animatronic Yoshi just walking around the tree.
So yeah, Splatoon, I feel like, was a best of both worlds situation where you got an off the wall IP, but you also got Nintendo. And I don't know, there's something about the Splatoon IP that I just have taken a real liking to. I love the game. It's honestly one of the only shooters that I actually play and enjoy. And the land itself, the environment is just, it definitely works within a theme park atmosphere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was Gamer Princess that came up with the idea. And then with Dash Haber and then Monty knocked it out of the park for Splatoon.
Interesting pairing. Those three are kind of like three of the more under the radar players.
Yeah.
They were super enthusiastic about it, with Gamer Princess taking sort of the lead of that area.
Oh man. All right. Well, that instantly kind of props Gamer Princess up in my book.
Yeah.
Kudos, Gamer Princess.
Kind of sneaking in under the radar.
Yeah, a little bit. So, you know what? Even in spite of the Splatoon ride, kind of feeling a little bit like Mario Kart, I do think it's a little bit more interactive than what Mario Kart's going to be like, if the rumors are true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the things that I absolutely loved was the merch, and oh my god, Splatoon merch, yes. People would go crazy for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
There's just something about that design that is kind of inherently attractable merch-wise.
Absolutely.
Like, there's something magnetic about those designs.
Yeah, definitely. Right. It's just that aesthetic, that it's one of those video game aesthetics that can work in hand with real life without looking too out of place. Right.
Yeah.
Just transitions so perfectly.
I also feel like Splatoon feels like a lost 90s Nickelodeon show, and that's one of the reasons why I love it so much.
I never thought about that, but yeah.
It's kind of got like that punk kind of kids rule aesthetic to it.
Definitely.
Let's see. Anything else about Splatoon, Ace, that you want to mention?
No, I think I was much like you guys. I wasn't sure 100% how Splatoon would work, but they sold me on it quite instantly.
All right, so let's get into the DC side of things, and this was ambitious. Wow.
Yeah, this was like from basically hour one. Joker's Wild and Nigel Channing, which
Oh
just
yeah.
flew through this. They
Yeah.
had a tiny idea and they just knew exactly what they were going to do, and they did it basically how they wanted.
And I mentioned DC when we were brainstorming, and Tiki just kind of threw that out of the window as kind of an obvious.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's obvious. That doesn't mean they didn't do a great job with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they were very adamant that they didn't want it to be exclusively a land of obvious IPs.
Yeah.
And I think that worked out for them and how it came out.
Because you have your Supermans and your Batmans, but you also had did you have Booster Gold Aquaman? Was it Booster Gold, or was that just talked about?
Which one?
Booster Gold.
He was talked about. I don't remember reading him in the final project though.
Yeah. And yeah, like Nigel and Joker's just kind of, took the massive DC catalog and really kind of put it into an all-encompassing land, which that's really tough.
Definitely, right? Because I mean, they pulled in even the general public with the Gotham City, and everyone knows Batman, and then they sprinkle in all these other ones that the general public might not know about, but the DC fanboys are going to absolutely love seeing these smaller known characters getting theme park representation. So
I mean, call them what they are. They're nerds.
Exactly, right? So I mean, it worked out in that sense that it's going to appeal to everyone because they have, somebody who's heard the name Batman getting appealed to this land from the aesthetic, and somebody who's read every single DC comic seeing these smaller ones that you don't see on the TV shows as much anymore per se.
All right, so in terms of the attractions, honestly, the two that really stood out to me, I mean, no disrespect to the Justice League or the Batman one, but I really love the Arkham Scarehouse. I'm honestly surprised that hasn't happened already for Halloween Horror Nights.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
That seems kind of an obvious choice.
Maybe it's just because of the Six Flags issue. I'm convinced.
It might be.
It could be right, but at the same time, pay what those rights would cost, because that maze would be outstanding.
And I think it would work really well for a year-round maze. A lot better than the fucking train wreck Walking Dead maze would.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting maze.
I mean, maybe I just caught it at an off time, but when I went through it, there were maybe 2 or 3 actors in the whole thing.
Seriously?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was maybe 1 zombie and 2 saviors.
Lame.
Honestly, the queue was more impressive than the actual walk-through part of it.
Oh,
wow. That's never a good thing.
Anyways, but I'm convinced that of course, the problem with doing a year-round maze is the staffing, and I'm sure that's what the issue was when I went through the Walking Dead. But
yeah. But I mean, even then, the Walking Dead one in Universal Studios Hollywood lasted 3 years before they closed it. So even if it's only a 3-year thing and then it gets switched out for a new maze, that's not totally undoable.
I think Arkham Asylum could work as a somewhat permanent maze, though, just because it's such an iconic
I agree.
theme. And honestly, what they could do is they could maybe cycle out different cast members and different villains. So you're never seeing all the villains, but at the same time, it makes it more suspenseful. You never know what villains you're going to see.
Well, I like that. Yeah.
So because of course Batman's rogues gallery is huge, and most of them are, as long as you make sure you get a good mix of you could go and have the Riddler and then someone like the Clock King or something like that. You know what I mean? Have a good mix of obscure and.
I'm just picturing Calendar Man.
Oh God. Scarface with the dummy.
Yes.
But So honestly, Justice League was probably my least favorite just because it felt a little bit too similar to Battle for Metropolis in tone.
Fair.
I'm sure it's a better attraction than Battle for Metropolis, though I do like Battle for Metropolis a lot, actually. That kind of exceeded my expectations. If you don't know, that's the Six Flags Justice League Dark Ride.
Right, yes.
Although I've only been on the Magic Mountain version, I've heard that one's like the superior version. So, let's see. Aquaman, I actually really... That was probably one of the other highlights for me just because of the technology at play.
Oh, yeah. That ride system is such a good idea that I'm shocked it hasn't been used, or at least if it has, been used more widespread.
I actually had an idea that was very similar for the ride system that involved... Oh, shoot, did I pass it up? That involved Legend of Zelda, actually. Where it would basically kind of be like you'd be holding on to the glider, and then the glider would then kind of transition to like a flying suit, and kind of do all kinds of crazy. Where is it? Jesus Christ!
I think you just scrolled over it.
Right there. All right. So yeah, I don't know. It definitely feels very practical.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
All right. And now on to my favorite part of this. This is just like, goddamn, a stroke of genius. It really is. Hasbro Boardwalk.
Like, I looked at this, when you were talking Hasbro, I was like, what?
Yeah, I mean, this land... So it started out as just an idea of what can we make as a kid land to, replace Toon Lagoon and Dr. Seuss. And it was like, well, what if we went with board games? Because, they already have a partnership with Hasbro through movie ideas. So what if they did it more widespread with a park land? And it was like, oh, that won't work. And then we talked about it more, and it was like, well, Toy Story Land works, so why couldn't more board games work? And so it started out as just almost a joke idea, and evolved into this, which I also love, because it was Goofy Yuck Yuck was sort of the lead on that, and then Outbound and myself were the other two that worked on this area.
Yeah, Goofy Yuck Yuck was really passionate about this idea. He really fought for it.
Yeah.
What impresses me the most about this idea is that it could come across like a Toy Story Land ripoff, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it has elements that are similar to Toy Story Land, but I think it's a plus up, even though I mean, just look at this map. I mean, you have you have Candyland, which is kind of the big sort of e-ticket, which is great. I feel like Candyland is it's an excellent compliment to the Cat in the Hat. That's what I was thinking the whole time I was reading it.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
I remember you guys were pitching the Game of Life as an e-ticket, which honestly, I'm glad you guys didn't go with that idea. But yeah, having the spinner is great, though. I could it's totally just like a piece of board game iconography that would work really well as a flat ride.
And Clue,
yeah, there's a couple. Go ahead, Mickeyfan.
Clue, I think that's probably my favorite part of this area. Just it's an obvious thing, but it's so well put together.
Yeah. Clue was a fun one to make because it was like, Clue has to be involved, right? There's so many things with Clue that not including it would have been a bigger issue than trying to force it somewhere almost. So someone came up with the murder mystery thing, and it was like, that's perfect, right? Like
you didn't just kind of do a ripoff of the movie.
Oh, come on. You end dinner with 3 different endings. Let's go. It's perfect.
I mean, let's be real. That would be kind of perfect, but you didn't rip off the movie, which I loved. Like,
Yeah.
I think just in the course of improvisation, you would kind of run into quoting the movie every now and then, but overall,
Oh, yeah. A couple of callbacks here and there would be not surprising, but we definitely wanted to keep it different, right?
yeah.
It's so easy to just fall back onto a movie like that, but
One of the greatest comedy films ever made.
I love it.
I actually watched it for the first time on my plane ride to Disney World.
What'd you think of
Nice.
it?
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
It's one of my favorite Tim Curry roles. Like, it's such a good film.
Also, I'm a big Better Call Saul fan, so it was great seeing Michael McKean in a more comedic role.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, honestly, like everything in this land, this is honestly maybe the best individual land of the season so far. Mickeyfan, would you?
100%.
Yeah,
Which
because
I did not expect to say about
Hasbro.
Hasbro.
But honestly, just looking at this map, it's like everything flows together so well, and everything complements each other.
We didn't even talk about the Mousetrap coaster.
The Mousetrap coaster works really well. I like that it's not just an off-the-shelf coaster model, that they actually have a unique track design.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just funny because it almost was a joke idea that just as we discussed it more, we realized just how well it would work as a full land and just kept rolling with it. And yeah, I'm extremely happy with how it turned out in the end.
Operation's great. The Jenga drop tower's great.
Yeah.
Freaking battleship, obvious but wonderful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
mean,
just overall just a really fantastic. If I had one nitpick for your guys' project as a whole, it's that I think the big thing that TMNT has over you guys is that we really strive to not do too many urban environments.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you guys basically relied on urban environments.
Yeah. The closest we got with urban environment would probably be either Avatar or Oz, and both of those are very
and even then
far off.
Right, and even then it's pretty like fantasy based urban. So
I mean, Republic City is a city, so that is the closest.
But it's more steampunky, diesel punky.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, but overall, I do think that the individual effort that was brought into it. I really love the idea of the individual brainstorming threads and the PMs, even though it made it kind of difficult to follow.
Oh my gosh. Getting home from work every day and seeing I had like 50 emails.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But on that, like, massive shout out to Sharon and Susan, who was the PM over all of it. And
absolutely.
They were just on top of it. They had the 3 PMs plus the thread, plus I'm sure they had a PM with like the leads of each land. So I mean, they were just everywhere, and every day we'd get an update on here's what happened today, here's what we're planning to do tomorrow.
Overall teamwork for Prospero is off the charts, and Sharon and Susan has to be one of the best team leaders in the game right now.
Yeah,
I think it's between Sharon and Susan and Outbound, and honestly, I think her and Outbound maybe have a little bit of, I don't want to say an alliance, but they definitely work well together.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, it's getting to the point. I don't want to put ideas in people's heads, but it's getting to the point where if I were playing in the game, I'd be almost a little bit concerned about some of these front runners. I'm just floating that out there.
Don't be trying to screw people over, but
so I'm saying, like, some people definitely. I mean, honestly, though, I'm not going to say some people rose to the cream of the crop, because yes, that is true. But I think overall, like,
this entire top 10 is the cream of the crop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
So speaking of that, we did lose Peregrine, which honestly that was kind of a bummer.
That was, yeah, unfortunately, man, between Pi and Peregrine, this has been not, some unfortunate departures from the competition.
Yeah, but you know what? It gave us the return of Nigel, which is honestly one of the most
with a fire under his ass. Let's
Yeah.
point that out right here, right now. Nigel has a fire under his ass.
And honestly, that's one of my new favorite memories. And so you want to be an Imagineer history is just the pain, the genuine pain that you guys all saw Mickeyfan and I go through when we had to eliminate him, reading Nigel's departure message on air and just being fucking heartbroken by it, and then not to mention the whole Tiki's friend list here, which just kind of adds to the intimacy of this podcast.
Yeah, wait, that's a good point. This isn't the first time I've been on, so where am I on that tier list? But no, I mean, last one was rough, right? Because I mean, I was the PM for our side, and I knew that you were going to be asking for nominations, and I had no idea who to nominate. I went back and forth for a while on who to nominate because everyone could have been a PO MVP nominee. None of them should have been elimination nominees. So,
right. So I think it's going to be really interesting going forward where there is just literally no room to hide.
No, not at all. It's well past that point, honestly.
I will float this out there, though. Again, not trying to screw anyone over, just kind of stating the facts here. Outbound still has that special power, that secret power that he won way back at the start of the season. That's still in play, folks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anything can happen. All right. Oh man. Ace, any last words? Any other thoughts you want to get in there?
It might have been mentioned at the very beginning, but just in case it wasn't, Outbound's map for this whole thing was beautiful because I mean it just ties into the current map so perfectly. You can't even tell what's actually there versus what he put in.
Yeah.
Boom.
Outbound is such a power player.
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't want to be naming my top 4 right now, but at this point, let me just say I have a prediction for the final 2 or final 3, and Outbound is in it. That's all. Like this is just the throw Outbound under the bus podcast.
Heavy praise.
Yeah, it's heavy praise, but at the same time, I feel like I'm just like. If you guys watch Survivor, there was this wonderful moment where this guy kept winning immunities, and Jeff Probst was like, 3rd immunity in a row, Tony, and Tony's just like, ooh, don't say that, Probst.
Yeah.
You remember that, Ace?
Yes.
I love that.
And then he won the season, so it worked.
Yeah. No, don't say that. Oh God, I love Tony so much. I think his march to the end in that season was a little bit. He didn't have as many obstacles as he could have. But I don't want to get into a whole Survivor conversation. I'll just say Ben really fucked up the dynamics of that season. That's
100%.
That's all I'll say. That guy shouldn't have even been out there in the first place.
Yeah.
Should have been fucking like Mike of all people over him.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. And, next time in the Survivor Hour. But okay, Mickeyfan, I know that this is your baby coming up, so I want you to kind of just kind of give everyone kind of your your sort of overlord message of it all here.
One up Tokyo with this.
That's what you keep saying.
That's really what I keep saying. But to go further into this, do some research. Look at what's coming to these parks and what's coming, and what kind of themes you can adapt to these for each of these specific celebrations, and all of that, because I think that this is very much a entertainment prompt, but it's a little different in that you have to do a lot of entertainment, but make it something of a cohesive whole.
Yeah, I'll just say I don't envy the people doing this project right now after the extensive Islands of Adventure project.
I personally have my own idea of how to do this, but I'm not going to say anything.
No, it's easy. You just make the only thing you change is you make the castle a blue birthday cake this time. Done. Anniversary set. We can just move on to the next prompt.
All right. Okay, guys, I think that's about it. I am not looking forward to eliminating someone, and I will say it's not going to be this round, but there is a double elimination looming. I'm just going to throw that out there. Yeah, that's going to be fun. So, all right, Ace, do you want to promote anything you're working on now, buddy?
Next week or 2 weeks from now, I can't keep track of dates anymore. It's such a mess. I think next Friday, I have a new Bright Sun Films video coming out, so I'll make sure to link that. And I think that's it right now. Constantly working on new things, but there's such a process with them.
I probably should have led with this, but this dude has worked with Kevin Percher and Bright Sun Films, who I honestly consider to be the two best theme park YouTubers on YouTube, bar none.
Yeah.
Although I will say that Bright Sun Films, I will say that he has. I like his Abandoned series is not specifically theme parks, but it's still it's just chef's kiss every time he puts one out. It's
definitely
awesome content. But so yeah, Ace, you're definitely kind of carving out a little niche for yourself with those endeavors, and I love it.
Yeah, I try. I'm always open to work with more, and it's always busy.
All right. So, folks, thank you so much for watching this podcast. It's been a great time, and let the wrath of the god Mickeyfan be merciful on you as you complete this anniversary project. That's all I'll say.
Don't fuck it up. And the immortal words of RuPaul, good luck and don't fuck it up.